And this one, let's take a look at finding, by definition, the derivative of f of x equals 5 minus 2x squared. So let's go through the process. Let's just remind ourselves what it is that we have to find. So our objective is to basically evaluate the following limit. The limit, usually we use h, so h is going to approach 0 here, just like that. And then here, I'm going to have f of x plus h minus f of x. Let's try that again. Minus f of x. And the whole thing will be divided by h. So we want to evaluate this limit to find the definition, by the definition, the derivative of 5 minus 2x squared. Keep that in mind. So let's go through that process, but I'm going to just copy this thing because we can reuse it pretty easily. Alright, so in our particular case, our f is 5 minus 2x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the following. We'll just have 5 minus 2, and x will be replaced with x plus h. So x plus h. And this whole thing will be squared, just like that. And I'm going to subtract f of x. F of x is defined to be 5 minus 2x squared, okay? Just the way you see it there. So for that reason here, be very careful because 5 minus 2x squared has two terms. You want to make sure that when you write this in here, that is enclosed within parentheses. So after that, we'll have the following here. 5 minus 2x and then squared. And the whole thing will be divided by h. So when you look at this kind of expression there, a lot of it just involves simplifying the numerator often, okay? So I'm going to do it on the side, just as a side work essentially. So simplify numerator. That's a big part of this, usually. So simplify numerator. Let's go through that process. So what I have is 5 minus 2. Then I have this x plus h and it's squared. So I'm going to expand that. If you like, you can use FOIL. I know a way to do it a bit more quickly. So there's a basic pattern that applies when you're squaring a binomial, which is that it's the square of the x plus double the product of the x and the h. So it's going to be 2xh. And then you're going to add at the end of it h squared, just like that, okay? And then you're going to subtract. Now when you subtract here, be careful, right? Because you see that negative will go over to the 5 and the 2x squared negative. So it's going to change the signs of those terms. Keep that in mind. So over here, for that reason, I'm going to type as follows. Minus 5, oops, let's try that again. So minus 5 and then plus 2x squared. So I'm simplifying the numerator, nothing else. Let's continue here. Now you see out here there's a negative 2 clearly that can be distributed to each term from expanding the binomial. So let's carry that step out. So I'm going to have 5 minus 2x squared. And then minus 4xh and then minus 2 h squared. Let's be careful here. Minus 5 plus 2x squared. Now, when I look at this expression, there are definitely things that can be cancelled off to simplify it. Okay, so let me just do that explicitly. So I see like this 5 will cancel with this negative 5. I'm just putting slashes across the things that are canceling. Okay, next, negative 2x squared will definitely cancel off with positive 2x squared like that, you see? So the things with the slashes are the ones that are canceling off. That's going to leave us as the simplified form of the numerator, the following. Negative 4xh minus 2h squared. Next process, or the next step in the process would be this one usually. Okay, so simplify quotient. So let's take a look. Let me set up the quotient so we see what there is to simplify. The quotient will look like this. Notice that I'm not writing the limit h equals to 0 thing the entire time until the very end, okay, when it's really necessary. So let's continue here, simplify the quotient. I will type the following as follows. I will have negative 4xh minus 2h squared, and the whole thing will be divided by h. So what I'm going to do is at the top, I see that clearly I have an h present in both of the terms in the numerator there. And there's an h at the bottom, which means I should be able to just cancel and simplify the expression. So let's do that. Let's carry that out. It's going to look like the following, therefore. I will have an h out here and then the negative 4x minus 2h. The whole thing hanging over h. Now when I look at this next part, you clearly see there's an h on the outside multiplying the numerator, and the one at the bottom can be canceled. They come as a pair. Okay, so in other words, it's going to be cancel this and then also cancel this right here. Okay? There you go. So that at the very end, what this will relieve us with is negative 4x minus 2h. That's the process. Now lastly, we've done all this prep work. Let's just take the limit to finish up. So limit as h approaches 0 of Negative 4x minus 2h is what I'm going to write here because I've cleaned up that expression. F of x plus h minus f of x over h is this expression that's directly below me, okay? And now, because this is a polynomial, I can just replace h with 0 directly, so it's going to look like negative 4x minus 2 times 0, which is then just negative 4x. And of course, this is the answer that we are looking for, okay? So here, to be clear, okay, this is the answer, negative 4x. That's the derivative of 5 minus 2x squared found by the definition. If you learn some basic derivative rules, you'll eventually see that differentiating 5 minus 2x squared using the rules will also give you negative 4x, obviously much faster than this. Okay, thanks so much. Please leave a like and subscribe. I hope it's been helpful. I will see you in another video.